Jai Sadgurudev. Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all in this online series of Behangam Yoga Rejuvenation session, which we have initiated to boost energy around where the global pandemic started and people are not allowed to go outside. And of course, for going inside, no one will stop you. In our previous sessions, we discussed more on mental health, pace, stress management, yoga, develop good habits, and how to live a balanced life. Thanks for your support in this in social media. And some interesting things are also coming in this session as well. So by attending this session, you might be able to understand how to start a journey within yourself. So please stay focused till the end of the session. I'm Om Prakash on behalf of Behangam Yoga Singapore team. We would like to extend our thanks to all of our regular attendees of the session, all of our newcomers, and our team members and their family to grace this occasion. For those who are not aware of Behangam Yoga, allow me to introduce you. Behangam Yoga Organization is an NGO, a pioneer in yoga and advanced meditation training, aiming at uplifting the human life in all aspects. The organization was established in year 1924 by His Holiness Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, who discovered this wonderful meditation technique after 17 years of strenuous meditation practice. And today, under the guidance of President Sadguru, His Holiness Sri Satantra Devji Maharaj, Behangam Yoga has reached around 45 countries and has transformed the lives of more than 5 million disciples. Our international headquarters is situated on the bank of Holy River called Ganges in Allahabad, which is known as the Prayagraj. Amid global pandemic, Behangam Yoga Singapore team has started daily online session of the breathing exercise, pranayam, and Behangam meditation, as well as this online rejuvenation session and introductory session conducted every month. So coming to this online rejuvenation session, as agenda displayed over the screen, it will take about 1.5 hours to complete. We will start the session by offering a prayer to the holy feet of the Master. And after that, there will be a panel discussion on the topic of Guru and I. We are trying to learn with everyone's experience in more practical approach. So this is going to be a very unique session. After that, there will be a closing prayer, which we call as Santi part. There will be a special comments of today's session from our team lead. And after that, there will be vote of thanks. So this is all about today's session. And before the session ends, you may have opportunity to ask a question based on today's discussion. So please feel free to write in the chat box or just wait for the question and answer session at the end. So let's start the session. The first, we are going to offer a welcome song and a small prayer for the world peace and prosperity. The prayer will be displayed on the screen in Hindi and English. To offer a prayer in the holy feet of the Master and get blessing for this session, I would like to invite Master Dibesh and Siddhesh. They both are brothers and highly inspired by their parents. The entire family is blessed by Sadguru. I hope you both are ready now, and everyone please join the session. Please join the Swadgan and Mangalgan with Dibesh and Siddhesh. You may start now.
जय सद्गुरुदेव स्वागत गान आज स्वागत नित्य गुरुवर संत सुभागम आइए अध्यात्म विद्या दिव्य ज्योति सोमरस बरसाइए दोष दुर्गुण दूर करिके शुद्ध हंस बनाइए भेद गम गति ज्ञान कर जन शक्ति द्वार हटाइए, भूले द्वारा शब्द सागर, भक्त जन अनबाइए, जन सदा फल विश्व शिक्षक, शान आन बचाइए। मंगल गान। विश्व शांति नाम मंगल, परम गुरु को ध्याइए, वर्ग द्वंद्व अशांति दूर कर, भाव भेद मिटाइए, सर्वभौम समष्टि सत्ता, ध्यात्म राज्य बताइए, भेष भाषा भाव जगमय, ज्ञान पर दर्शाइए, समृद्धि सुख शांति धरातल, स्वर्ग भूमि बनाइए, विश्व शिक्षक जन सदा फल, नीति स्वर अपनाइए। जय सद्गुरुदेव।
Thank you, both of you. The way you offer the Swadgan and Mangalgan is really inspiring us, is really motivating us, and also sending me the message that knowledge can achieve in any age. Thank you again, and we wish you a great future and hope to see you soon. So now let's move forward. The next session is a panel discussion, and today's topic, which is Guru and I. To succeed in any aspects of the life, we really need a master who can guide us, who can teach us, who can show us the way when we need. So let's join the discussion. And to initiate the discussion, I would like to invite Mr. Srinivasji. Srinivasji joining us from Singapore. Is a highly dedicated, a regular practitioner of Bihangam meditation, has been associated with Bihangam Yoga from last 2 years. And what I know about him, and he's from the shipping industry where the things are changing in each and every moment. I have learned many things from him. Over to you, Mr. Srinivasji, to initiate today's discussion.
Jai Sadgurudev. Thank you, Omji, for the introduction. I would start with a few lines on the topic, a small prayer which we in the name of Guru. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guru and I is a topic that we will be discussing today. And I would like to invite the panel to come on video. Vikasji, can you please start the video so that we can introduce the panel? I would request the panelists to give a brief introduction in 2 lines, about 2 to 3 lines about yourself, giving your name, profession, if you are associated with Vihangam Yoga, a little bit about your association. My name is Srinivas Patnaik, as Omji has already introduced. I am in shipping, in ship management business. I have been associated with Vihangam Yoga for the last more than 2 years now. I would like to invite Rishiji to please introduce yourself.
Jai Sadgurudev. My name is Rishi Kant. I have joined Vihangam Yoga since past 1 year, and I'm a regular practitioner. And I'm currently working in Singapore in banking industry as a solution architect. Over to you, Srinivasji.
Welcome, welcome Rishiji. I would like to invite Vikasji to give us a brief introduction about himself in a few lines. Vikasji is joining us from Malaysia.
Thank you, Srinivasji, and Jai Sadgurudev to everyone. My name is Vikash Kumar. I was introduced to Vihangam Yoga almost or even more than a decade. Yeah, and with the Sadhguru's blessing, I am still able to continue my practice, and I am in IT profession. Thank you.
Welcome, Vikasji, to the panel. I would like to request Shaviji to introduce herself.
Om Gurave Namaha. I'm Chavi Kulshrestha. I am from intellectual property industry, and I am not associated with Vihangam Yoga, but I have my experiences with Vishwa Jagrati Mission, which is also run by one of the gurus known as Shri Sudhanshuji Maharaj. So I have my experiences with my Guru Dev, and it's been a very nice journey so far. Over to Srinivasji. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaviji. Welcome to this panel. Lagnajit, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Good morning, everyone, and happy Guru Purnima. It was yesterday, so happy Guru Purnima to everyone. So my name is Lagnajit. I'm also based in Singapore, and I am based in the IT profession and been in Singapore for the last 8 to 9 years, originally from Odisha in India. I think I am perhaps the only one in the panel who is not formally associated yet with Vihangam Yoga, but through Srinivasji, I have had an opportunity to understand it, and I've spoken to Subhasji as well. So looking forward to be a part of this group and learning and sharing. Over to you, Srinivasji.
Welcome. Welcome, Lagnajit, and welcome all the panelists, esteemed panels. I look forward to a very interactive discussion on this very, very profound topic. And as Lagnajit said, happy Guru Purnima to all on the Zoom and to all those watching on the Facebook at the moment as we are live. Guru. I mean, we have been living with this term Guru as we grew up in our Hindu culture. Guru is, in simple terms, a mentor, a guide, an expert, whatsoever, in whichever format we have it in our mind. As Omji said, he's the master, the teacher. And I would like to add here just a few to set the platform and the pace of what we're going to discuss today in the realm of differentiating between information and knowledge. Let me just clarify on this simple thing. Google is not a guru, though there is a lot of information. Information and knowledge are two different areas. So I would differentiate these two things as important to have this perspective of discussion that we're going to have today. Information and knowledge. I would like that we focus on the knowledge part of it today. Information is available in abundance. Information is available everywhere. There are books, there are movies, there are films, there are encyclopedias, but we are talking about knowledge. Guru is someone who shares his knowledge with us. A knowledge is a inference, something which the Guru has churned it within himself with his own experiences, what he learned from his Guru, and he is ready to impart to us, not as an information, but as knowledge. This is something which I would like to put in front as one of the most important things going forward. Now, we have also lived with a very, I would say, a quote, a statement that goes with our system, right? Mata, Pita, Guru, Dev. So the primary teacher is our mother. The first teacher is our mother. The second is our father, who also, in our historical perspective, also happened to be a lineage of the profession. So the profession which the father is having was to be transferred to the son, and so on. So the father teaches the profession. Guru teaches the way of life going forward. And then comes the Devta and all the other granths after that. So Guru, as such, that's why in the opening quote which I mentioned, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu hai, Guru Maheshwar hai, or they're all Parabrahm. Guru is a apostle, is a representative of Parabrahm in our Sanatana Dharma and spirituality. Now, having set this space, I would like to invite Rishiji, and this question I will pose to each panelist as you go forward. Let's keep about 4 minutes to 5 minutes on this. Who, in your opinion, would you consider as a guru? How would you relate yourself as you to the guru? In what format do you think we should be related to the guru? And what would be your obligations towards the guru? Rishiji, I would invite you to start the discussion.
Jai Sadgurudev, everyone. And thanks, Srinivasji, for giving me opportunity to share my thoughts in this very interesting topic. Yeah, so I would start with a prayer. Om Agyanti Mirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. It means that I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So I relate to this prayer to Guru a lot. Okay. So if we consider ourselves, we born in darkest ignorance, completely ignorant of anything. We don't know. We have to learn or gain knowledge, as Srinivasji mentioned, going forward as a child and then becoming adult and then to other path of liberation and yoga, right? So we are completely ignorant and we are born as ignorant, right? We can't answer very basic questions like, who am I? Where I came from? Where am I going? It puzzles us. Whenever we pose these questions, it puzzles us. That means we are quite ignorant and we are just at the level or the basis of material. Maximum we can answer in these terms to a material part, okay? And leave other complex questions which comes across this, right? So to search answer for all our queries and to remove our such ignorance, we need Guru all the time, okay? A simple analogy, let's take a simple analogy. You are walking and searching for an address, okay? And you found it and reached the destination, okay? Who is helping here? You know, or you ignore it. There is a sunlight or there is a light which actually showed you path, okay? So that is the light which you take it to, which you would search and go to the destination or reach to the destination. Okay. Similarly, if you are in, assume you are on an expedition, okay, and you are in completely unknown territory, okay, and this relates to our territory which we don't know, are completely ignorant of, right? So let's take that example. You are expediting and you are in unknown territory. You seek help of a local guide there, right? Who knows every turns and every tree or every terrain detail of the terrain, right? Then you take help from the local guide. Okay, if he says turn left, you don't think twice. You follow that. If you don't take that left turn, you may get stuck for a very long time in that terrain, finding your way out of yourself. Okay. Okay. Now, as a child, okay, one more analogy. As a child, you may learn reading yourself. Okay. You don't know how to learn, but you try to make sense of out of a letter and then word, and then slowly you can do it yourself. But it may take many years. I'm not sure if someone has done that. Okay, but a teacher could teach you in few months. Okay, all the alphabets and words starts making sense to you, right? So that is the guru, and how you gain knowledge and you reach the destination in the uncharted territory. Similarly, we need to sail through by practicing yoga, sail through this life and reach the destination, and to meet the destination that's what is yoga is. Okay, and since we are ignorant, the devotion to the Sadguru is the only way to achieve the ultimate goal, and that is our obligation to devote ourselves to Sadguru and to reach the ultimate goal. The Sadguru has no worldly desires, has nothing to get from the disciples, right? So those things doesn't apply to Sadguru, and hence he comes to the world to fulfill his mission of helping the aspirant to choose correct path and then guide him through the practice of yoga. So that is the ultimate, the direction and the path which we learn from Guru and reach our final or the destination. Okay, so I would just quote a few verses from Swarved. प्रेम भक्ति सद्गुरु करो, सद्गुरु अलख लखाए, प्रथम मिलन गुरु फिर प्रभु, जन्म मरण दुख जाए. So we should, like I said earlier, we should devote ourselves to Sadguru, who would give or show the path to the alak, to the destination. First we would meet the Guru, and then only we can reach to the God. And with that, our cycle of birth and death, we would come out of that. That is the ultimate goal. Right? One more verse. Brahma Vidya Parkas mein moh timir tam jaye, dev sada fal prabhu daya, tabahi sant mat paye. So is in this Brahma Vidya light, okay, all the Maya darkness, Timir means darkness, and Moh, this Moh and Maya of this material world would go away, and with help of Sadguru, you would reach the destination. So I take a pause here and over to you, Srinivas-ji, for further discussion.
Thank you. Thank you for the interesting insights, Rishi-ji. I hear this very interesting way in which you mentioned light as our guidance. If it were dark, we would definitely not find our way to where we want to go. So light as a guru is a very interesting perspective, and so well said, Rishi-ji. I take that. And compliance. If somebody tells us to go to the left and then to the right as a guide, if you go to the right and then to the left, definitely we are not going to reach where we were going. Very interesting and very, very powerful, what you said. And teacher as an accelerator. Through that, very interesting perspective on that. Chavi-ji, I would like you to throw a light on the same point as what is your opinion as a guru, and how would you relate yourself to the guru, and what are your obligations, what if any, towards the guru.
Thanks, Srinivas-ji, for this opportunity to answer this question. And my views are very much in line with Rishi-ji's, that a guru is someone which I would say, which I have learned from my own guru, that कोई उतना अपना नहीं जितना आपका अपना गुरु है, अपनों से अपना is guru. So the closest person or closest to someone you get is your guru. So your guru is your everything. So he can be your, not only your teacher, he can be your psychologist, he can be your path, who enlightens your path provider. He can guide you through various aspects of life and to achieve the balance whereby your mind reaches a state whereby you can connect to yourself to realize who you are. And once you realize who you are and what is your purpose of life, then you can, then he shows you the path, how you can proceed in that direction to achieve. So what my experiences have been that my guru, as he has told us and taught us, is the purpose of every human life is to find the highest state of happiness, whereby you reach at a place where from there you don't have to go any further. You don't have any desires left. You don't have any anger, any agony, any kind of dissatisfaction left. You have become what you wanted to become. And that is when you are not only with yourself, you are in sync with your God. Then you and your God are one. Then your pain is gone, your sufferings are gone. Basically, it only happens when you are about to free yourself from the cycle of birth and death. So it's a whole lot of process. Putting them in one is like you have to take care of yourself in a way that your mind and your body, your soul is ready to go further in this journey, so that whenever your guru tells you, okay, take this direction or that direction, you're able to take full advantage of it. So it is a holistic approach. Your thought process have to be purified, your food, your daily habits, everything has to be in line, in sync with what you want to achieve in life. That's extreme happiness, the highest level of happiness, to be with the God. And in my view, guru obligations towards your guru is that when you trust someone as apno se bhi zyada apna, then there is no question of any doubt or any kind of that you don't trust someone or something. It's like it's a complete trust. Your guru trusts you and imparts knowledge upon you, and you just take it as, okay, this is what I have to do, and nothing else but this. So this is the obligation, that whatever he teaches, you implement that in your life and practice it on a daily basis, so that in this journey of life, if your spirituality level is at certain point, then you are actually uplifted from that point to a much higher point, so that either you totally liberate yourself from cycle of death or birth, or at least you are at a much higher level than the journey from where you have begun. So I will say that, this is what I feel about my Guruji. And at this point, when I started, I just saw Guruji as a person, but now I think it's a much broader concept. Guru is not just a person, it's a concept that we have to interweave into our lives. So that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaviji, for that interesting perspective in line with the experience as with a guru that you have. The upliftment, what you mentioned about at whichever stage we are, from there to go to the next level, liberation. And what I love to hear is Guru as a concept. That is very, very interesting. Guru as a concept of what we are, because Guru is there with us right from our kindergarten to our masters, to our doctorates, to our spiritual life. The Guru is there all over. It's for us to seek and get what knowledge that we want to get. So basically, yes, it's a concept that we are working towards. I would invite Vikasji, who is from Malaysia, and he's been a regular practitioner and coach even for Vihangam Yoga. Vikasji, I would like you to throw a little light on Guru and how you relate yourself to a Guru, and what are our obligations towards the Guru.
Thank you, Srinivasji. Again, Jai Sadhu Gurudev to everyone. And my view towards Guru is very much aligned with what you have said, Srinivasji, in the beginning, or what Rishiji has said, or what Chaviji just mentioned about uplifting yourself from one stage to other and seek the guidance from Guru. But I will also correlate with our daily meditation practice session, and in which Subhashji put some so-called question and everyone answers for that. So there are couple of answers given. One was from Subhashji itself and one was by Chandanji. So I will just relate to those quotes and I will just say that this is purely my view as well for Guru. So starting with Guru is basically it's a combination of two words, which is Gu and Ru. And literally the meaning of that part is someone who brings you far away from darkness and brings you closer to the light. And as you in the beginning, Srinivas, you said like the Guru is someone, we have from our birth until the end of the life. So in the beginning, our parents are our Guru who teaches us the good deeds. Later, when we go to the school, our teachers are our Guru. When we go to the professional life, our mentors, our Guru. And even in today's world, when we want to look for something, we go and in Google and type something and seek an answer from Google. So in that, all those are Guru basically, who eradicates the ignorance of someone. The basis of ignorance decide the basis of Guru. If ignorance does not exist, the Guru will not exist. So it's like knowing something, not knowing something is basically is not ignorance, but knowing something wrong is, yes, that is ignorance. We can relate it with the paper. If we have a blank paper, that is not an ignorance, but we have a dark paper, that is something which we call ignorance, because clearing that, writing something on that dark paper will be very, very much difficult. So Guru is someone who can bring us from that dark side to the brightness side, to this white paper. Yeah, because we can draw something now on this paper which we have now. And Guru is always far from the selflessness. The mixture of selflessness dilutes the purity of Guru. And then the varieties of Guru appear. So we can say that who is Guru? Like we, as Chavi said that, okay, she is following someone and he is a Guru. Definitely, yes. That's why we have a lot of Guru, and whoever brings us away from this darkness towards the purity, towards the light, they are Guru. And that's why we have a many Gurus existence today. But who, are we are the disciples of Guru? Yes. But who's Guru? Does Guru have any other Guru? Yes. Guru also have a Guru are also a disciples. The one who is Guru of all Guru is the Sadguru. So my obligation here to devote ourselves in Sadguru's feet. Just surrender yourself in Sadguru's feet and say that, yes, I am here in your service. Let me do whatever you want, and you will go through. That's my belief. It's nothing like, it's not related to your personal life, professional life, or your personal relationship or whatever. Everywhere you seek a guidance from Guru. It's not that someone who is physically present or not present. Someone will be there who will always be with you, who will always be guiding with you. The only thing we need to seek. If you're pure and you're seeking yourself with a pure heart, you will get the guidance. And believe me, you will achieve what you want to do. Thank you very much. Over to you, Srinivasji.
Thank you, Vikasji, for that very interesting perspective and relating to the Guru of the Guru, Sadguru, which is where we come from as far as Vihangam Yoga and Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj is concerned. Guru is waiting to guide you. Very interestingly, you have mentioned about the dark paper, which is a very, very important thing where, something written on the dark, very difficult for us to decipher. And very interesting that you say knowing, it's not about something that you don't know, but it is knowing something and not knowing is the ignorance. It's there, but we don't know. That's ignorance. Very, very profound statements there. and Guru is someone who moves us away from the darkness. I would now like Lagnajit to give me his perspective on what his opinion is about Guru and how he relates himself. Unmute yourself, Lagnajit.
Okay, now I could unmute myself. All right. Can you hear? I hope you can hear me, Srinivasji.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right. No, thank you again for inviting me to this wonderful discussion. I think from my perspective, I mean, literally, Guru means, as everyone has spoken about, I think in Sanskrit, it means one who propels, darkness away with light. So light and darkness, and we spoke about that. Many people spoke about it. So that's the literal meaning. And I think you wonderfully explained about how everyone starts with having their parents as the first gurus, and then you have teachers, and then in every sphere and every walk of your life, you need a guru. And I kind of like that example which was mentioned before. If you are driving car and you're going from point A to point B and you don't know the way, you can either choose to drive by yourself, or you can use the GPS. In that way, the GPS user becomes your guru for that particular path of the life. For me, I think I like to maybe look at 3 eyes. So one eye for inspirational. So I think the first thing that we always look at in Guru, and my Guru would be someone who can inspire me, and if it's my parents or if it is someone that I look up to. And I think we always look up to inspirational figures in any walk of life. Mahatma Gandhi was not only a leader, he was also a guru and the father of the nation who inspired millions to take up the cause. So an inspirational, figure is what a towering personality, and an inspirational figure is what all of us will look forward to. That's the first eye. The second eye is the inspiration is always there because the person is intelligent. So intelligent not by just having a higher level of IQ or EQ, but intelligence also that he or she has the expertise, the experience, which they have already gone through their journey, and then they have evolved. And that intelligence is what all of us we are looking for in our gurus. So how we can learn from their intelligence, and how we can actually, improve, and how we can go from darkness to light. And the third eye to me that I think is very, very important is intuitive. So Guru and Shishya, we have a rich tradition in India and in the Sanatan Dharma about Guru Shishya Parampara. And I think this intuitiveness is when intuitively I trust my Guru. So I know that, the Guru is always going to be my well-wisher. He or she knows me, he or she knows me well enough, and he or she has my best interests. So that is the I think the 3 aspects of what any guru looks at. I don't have a particular personal experience of following one spiritual guru, but as all of us, I'm sure I also have my own gurus and teachers in different spheres. And if I draw a parallel with my corporate life now, how I'm working in the company, so we always are looking at mentors, whether we are taking up a new job or a new role, a new career profession. We can succeed if we have a real mentor. And what is the mentor and the mentee relationship? The mentor and the mentee relationship again stems from those 3 eyes. The mentor is someone who inspires me, someone who is intuitive and intelligent. And as a mentee or as a disciple, I have certain obligations as well. So my obligations, I think from the 3 eyes, I'll talk about 3 P's. My obligation is number 1, trust. P for trust. So I definitely need to trust the person that I am accepting as my mentor or as my guru. Unless there is that relationship of trust, you cannot actually, gain out of it. I was reminded of a nice movies that I had seen somewhere where it talks about a cup which is full. If your cup is always full of tea and water, somebody is trying to pour more into it, it is going to overflow. So you have to have an empty cup before you can actually get something into it. So that is the amount of trust that you need. You may be an expert in various things, but when you have identified a certain guru, then you have to actually empty your cup. You have to then, ignorance becomes bliss. Even if you have learned a lot, ignorance becomes bliss, and then you can actually absorb more. So that is the trust element. The second T is being truthful, and the third T is transparent. So truthfulness and transparency is also very, very important to establish that rich Guru and Sishya Parampara, as we call it. Even unless we are truthful and truthful to your own self, and unless you are transparent with your guru cannot actually, you may have a guru, you may have a very learned guru, but you can't take from him or her unless you are transparent with him. You have to bear yourself, bear your soul, you'll have to bear your strengths, your weaknesses, and then only you'll have to, as I said, empty your cup, and then you can imbibe. So for me, I think in a nutshell, that's what I wanted to share. For me, a guru is someone who is inspiring, intelligent, and intuitive. And my obligation as a disciple would be that how truthful I am, how transparent I am, and how much do I trust? How do I build my trust? So I would leave it there.
Thank you, Lagnajit. You are a true IT professional. I can see that, with I and T being your core part of what you do with your life. And relating it with the guru this is a very interesting perspective in which you have put this as inspiration, intelligence, and intuitiveness as part of what you seek for in a guru, and trust, truthfulness, and transparency as a part of being the I in the part of the guru and I. So very well put, Lagnajit. I also love the way you put the perspective that we all over the period of time tend to feel that yes, we all have our respective cups full, and we know it all. We all at one stage understand that we know it all. But then when you go to the guru and you still go with that same full cup, definitely he has nowhere to pour anything into you, because it is, and in simple terms to put it, we have to be coachable to the guru. As an I, if I want to get something from the guru, I need to go there with a complete empty cup. At least leave some space for the guru to put something into it. Not say, otherwise the final I will come in the front and it stops all, which is the I for ego. It's me. So I think the I here with the guru is to empty that. So the first round of the discussion was very interesting. And now we get a perspective that guru is someone who is there for us to dispel the darkness. Guru is there, someone who can give us the knowledge from what his ever learnings are. And we as individuals who are the disciples need to be there and get as much as we can. The guru is always there. His job is to teach, preach. The teacher in the school, he comes at 9 o'clock and he remains until 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock. He is there to teach. The students in the class, 30, 40, 50 students in the class, each one gets whatever the person takes. Someone is a first ranker, someone is a failure, someone gets 20%, someone gets 50%, 60%. So the I part in the guru is very important, is what I can see across in the discussion today, because it's important that we know that guru is there to dispel the darkness which is inside us and give us knowledge, but we have to be ready to get it as well. I'll move over to the second part of the discussion now, and I will kind of break this up into two sections, because we have one Rishiji and Vikasji who are associated and already been doing Vihangam Yoga. And so what I would ask Vikasji, I will start with Vikasji on this round, is your personal experience, any interaction that you have physically had with your guru, or an experience of a guru's teachings that have impacted your life. Vikasji, I would like you to throw light on this point.
Thank you, Srinivasji. So again, going with you, Srinivasji, as you said, like guru is always there, and it's us, it's me, it's I who need to seek. Guru is always there in the school, and it's 30 and 40 students who seek guidance from them, and it's me, what I am achieving, what I am observing, what I'm gaining from them, and depends on that, I will achieve 30, 40, 50, or even 90%. Yeah. So for me, it's the same. I seek guidance, I seek blessings in each and activity, no matter how big or how small it is. Even, someone will laugh, even when I send an email, especially to sometimes to my MD or whoever, not MD, I mean the senior people in my team. Basically, I just, as before I be sending the email, I prayed to Sadhguru, like, okay, I'm not saying something wrong, and I should not kick back after that. One may laugh like, okay, I mean, what kind of activity is this for? But for me, that is really important. Yeah, I mean, anything which I do, I feel like, yes, I need a help, I need a guidance from Sadhguru, and then I need that's why I pray him, and then I get the blessing and I do it. So there are many activities which I have felt, but I will, I mean, if I have to share one, I will share one when it was back in 2010 or 2011, when one of our Guru Bhai, his name is Sushilji, who was here, and there were some bad things, some bad timing. It was that we didn't have enough money to accommodate these two people in the hotel, because they were staying in the hotel, and the program which was supposed to happen here in Malaysia is for about a couple of weeks. So for that, it was kind of, we are getting a bit of hard time to accommodate that part, and we were thinking like, okay, what to do that. And I will not say what exactly happened, because that is not so good, but immediately we have enough money that was not at all expected. It was not our income, that was not our anyone. I mean, no, we didn't do any bad thing for sure, yeah, believe me. But next day we had that much of enough money that was not enough for them to accommodating 2 weeks in the hotel. That was also enough for us to continue with our prachar work for almost a month. And it went in such a way that, okay, we were able to do prachar almost all over the Malaysia. We went to Penang, we went to couple of more places which are far from KL, not only in KL. Yes, we did conduct few more prachars. So that day I was very, very much impressed, and I was like surprised, like how come this happened? Like the source of income which you will never think of, that okay, this can happen. Yeah. So so that happened, and that's really give me a kind of a belief or kind of faith that, yeah, I mean, when you pray to Sadhguru that, okay, bless us with something and we are in a need, then yeah, you get to have it. So that's all from me, Srinivasji. Thank you.
Very, very profound and very interesting, Vikasji. Specifically, you relate so much with what I do as well. I close my eyes and I think of my Guru. Before I bring the mouse on top of the send button sometimes when it's a very important message, or when I'm dealing with my client or something that is very important for me. I always do the same thing what you do. So I completely relate with what you do, because it's having a trust, having a belief, and having faith and complete surrender in whatever you do. And it is not just it's not just up to the email, but when I even start my driving, I say I'm driving for the Lord. So please keep it safe for me as I'm on the road, because it has happened several times when we just pass a signal and we don't realize, hey, why did I pass through the signal? Was it green or red? It happens several times, but somebody has seen it for you. Somebody has seen your subconscious. You just go through and you say, okay, I didn't do anything wrong. I did the right thing at the end of the day. So you made a very profound point here, that when you are under the surrender mode, when you are with the Guru, from where things will happen, how things will happen, is something which is miraculous. I use the word miraculous here because that's what Guru is supposed to be. There are miracles which we cannot see. We are elusive to several things that we think we can see, and scientifically we know that there is something called illusion. We may not be able to see what our eye really wants to see until the light falls on that. So I will now come to I will go to Rishiji first, because I would like to finish the perspective from the Vihangam Yoga side on your personal experiences with related to your interaction physically with the Guru, if ever you had, whomever your family guru, or as you grew up, you would be gurus with the family. My grandfathers had their gurus, so I used to go to their guru ashram as I was growing up. So I had some direct interactions as I was growing up, which I may not have had as I grew up. But if you had any personal experiences of sharing with guru, or if you don't have anything or any of the teachings that have impacted your life, Rishiji, I would like to.
Yeah, sure, Srinivasji. Thanks for putting that perspective, and thanks for Vikasji for giving that perspective, and that's really very valid and to apt. Okay, so yeah, so I felt the presence of Guru in my life many times. It is not once or twice, or see, personally, I'm not initiated directly by a Guru, but I have felt the presence of Guru many times. Right, I felt many times that this Prakriti or nature, when we talk about nature itself, help us enlighten and uncover your path forward many a times. Right, it is not just like Chaviji mentioned, it is Guru is not one person or body. Okay, it is a concept, or it is an umbrella who is protecting you or guiding you in many direction or many ways, right? Coming to personal interaction, yeah, so I met personally few great personalities, which we call it Guru, okay, and Guruji. So I also met my parents' Guru. Okay, I have experienced in reality that I get many of my quests or queries which I'm longing to, ask with him or her, okay, answered automatically. Okay, when I say answered automatically, don't think that I'm shy of asking that question I didn't ask. Okay, what happens, say I have 4 or 5 points I prepared, okay, I'll ask these questions. I go to that session to meet Guruji, okay, and somehow or other, the discourse which he gives, okay, it includes those things, aspect. Okay, how he knows, I mean, that kind of quest I'm coming with. Or sometime happens that, okay, he points out someone to ask a question, and sometime that question leads to that answer. So I have experienced that personally, and I felt that this is miraculous. I mean, this is something beyond my imagination or analysis capability that I can comprehend. So I just surrendered myself that, okay, this analysis and keeping analyzing that how this happened, this is just a coincidence. And coincidence, how many times coincidence happens, right? So this is my personal experience on which I can really vouch for. The real Guru or the great personalities, they have the sense what you are fighting with, okay, what you are having quests with, right? And they resolve in one or other way. You not asking also, they would answer it, right? So they help you. And one more thing which I would like to add here is, like sun, right? It is so impartial, right? If you try to throw a stone or try to curse sun, it doesn't matter to sun. It keeps giving light equally to bad people, to good people, to any person, right? So Guru is completely impartial. He doesn't see your even good or bad, both, right? He keeps giving you giving you the direction. He keeps giving you the right path, which you can improvise or make your life better. Okay, so that is my experience, which I wanted to quote here, which I could not, maybe I would have prepared 5 to 10 questions. I have not asked any questions, maybe that burning question, which I was having before meeting a Guru, which I had earlier. So that is my experience. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful perspective, Rishivji, on that, because sun, as sun is impartial, so is Guru, so profound. Because you see, when the sun rays are out there, for the washerman, it dries the clothes. For the paddy fields, they act as a source of energy for the paddies to grow. The same sun rays can be grasped by so many people in so many ways, but the sun doesn't know. Sun is just imparting what it's supposed to impart. Likewise, I relate with what you say. We all sit with our respective levels of ignorance, as Vikasji has put, in front of the Guru. We go and try to seek knowledge. We want to sit there and we want to know. And the Guru is spreading knowledge equally. His knowledge is going to the washerman. His knowledge is going to the fisherman. He's going to everybody. That particular knowledge which is being imparted by the Guru. So while we are sitting in the audience with all our queries and all our questions, irrespectively, it's so miraculous. It appears so miraculous to us, but actually, he is doing a world selfless miracle, which it encompasses everybody in the classroom. If the teacher is teaching a lesson, it doesn't mean that he's teaching something different for the first class holder or for the backbencher. He is imparting the same knowledge to all. Again, that is a very profound what you have mentioned, Rishiji, that sun perspective is so important for the Guru. I will come to Lagnajit now. Lagnajit, from the IT perspective, you are the IT guy. So I would like to hear your IT perspective on Guru. And if you had any personal experience with the Guru or anything that is impactful from the mentor-mentee perspective, which is all related. We may be ignorant about the Guru. We may not know the real meaning of Guru. We do not know the real meaning of Sadguru. That doesn't mean that they don't exist. We may not, if somebody is kept in a room for since his birth, that doesn't mean that since he doesn't see sunlight, doesn't mean that sunlight doesn't exist. So it is there. So I would like to hear your perspective on that, with the perspective of your personal experience with Guru, or anything that Guru has impacted you with their teachings.
Okay. No, thank you, Srinivasji. I think I am not so lucky, I would say, that I have a spiritual Guru yet. But of course, like everyone, I have had my share of teachers, and I had my share of mentors as growing up, both in childhood and my schooling days, as well as now in my professional career. I think if I look back on my last few years on earth, I can call out, 2 or 3 inspirational gurus who have shaped my thoughts and my values. Number one, obviously, is as you said, parents, and my mother. I think, I consider her as my biggest guru. She is no more. She left us in 2011. But I think, as Rishiji, I think it was Vikasji who mentioned, when I have to send an important email, or if I have to send something urgent and I know it is very important, I always think of her. So it's like the same thing, so even if, and I feel her presence. I feel her presence, and I think it's a very Indian and very unique Hindu Sanatan Dharma culture, that we feel that even our parents or family members, after they have left this world, they are still with us. वो हमारे बीच में है, हमारे साथ में है. And I kind of believe in that. And I think my mother particularly, she's an inspirational figure for me, and she has molded me all through her life. I can think of teachers, 1 or 2 of them, especially, when I was very young, and I still remember, how basic values around honesty, truthfulness, and, kindness and compassion are the values that our teachers bring to us. And those days, it was so simple, right? So we did not have to depend on external motivation. Everything used to be as the cup was empty, and it was ignorance is bliss. So when we have these inspirational teachers in our schools, everybody will have a teacher they can remember that, who has molded us, right? So for me, 2 individuals, I really grew up. One was my Odia teacher who used to teach me my vernacular language. And I still remember I was caught cheating in exam when I was very young. And, teachers can take different directions if they find students cheating. They can actually thrash you, they can penalize you, or they can inspire you, and they can change your thoughts by, telling you So I remember this, and it was so long when I was in grade 4, but I remember this, that, this particular sir of mine, he inspired me, and my mother helped me in the process to understand what I'm doing is why I'm doing it, what is the reason, and why should I change. So the why, the first thing is before the what and the how comes the why. So how you can actually, what we need and why do we need, that's the role that the gurus have played. And those were my couple of experiences that I still remember. In my professional life, I have been lucky, I can say, because I do have, a mentor who goes back to me from last 12 to 13 years and has been with me. Again, the interesting thing is he's not too much old to me, but he has basically played the role of a mentor for me in the last 12 years of my career, guiding me every stage of my career in terms of where should I go from one role to the other, from one company to the other, bringing in his experience and guiding me there. So I think that is the role that I have seen. In terms of life skills and growing with an inspirational guru, as I said, I'm not so lucky. I look forward to now learning from this group and also, finding my space there. Books has played a big role. So reading and learning from what I can read is something that, in the absence of a real guru, I have been using books. I particularly am, I think, inspired by Art of Living by Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji. I have attended a couple of their workshops, and I think for me the divine thing was the pranayam itself and the Sudarshan Kriya, which actually allows me to connect to myself. And I think that was my, I would say, in a way, the only physical experience I have had with a spiritual guru, but I have my experience with my personal gurus from my childhood and from my professional career.
Wonderful, Lagni. This is really see, that's the reason why I said I want to bring the IT before I move on to Chaviji, because this perspective is very, very critical. Because see, the guru, as we all have discussed, been saying in this panel, is the guru is there. Guru is there. Guru is there to teach us. Sometimes visible, sometimes invisible, but the guru is there to teach us. And one more interesting thing that you have said. See, all of us in our lifetime have had various teachers at various levels. In your kindergartens, grade 1s to grade 5, 10, 11, 12 years, you had 12 teachers, then subject teachers, then college teachers, and subject matter experts. Each of us, if we have been through with 50 teachers in our life, you can count 4 or 5 on your fingertips. The rest of them have imparted you information. These 5 or 6 have imparted you knowledge. That is the impact of what guru is. You call them guru. Some people, you've been your boss. Some people, I have one of my bosses as one of the guru. Unko guruji bolte. We call them the guruji. The moment you get something that dispels your darkness, that person becomes a guru. Not just information. That information that suddenly blows you off. That information that suddenly shows light to you when you are completely lost. You're completely lost. Like you said, you had an incident in your school time when you had small cheating. But then that person who caught you, or that person who had a discussion with you at that time, would have been so impactful that at this stage, after so many years also, you still remember the impact of that. That is a guru. So guru in the physical form, guru in the mental form, guru in out there in the atmosphere is always there. Chaviji, I wanted you to come in the end only because of your experience with the guru being a direct physical. I've had your discussions with you in the last few days as well. So I want you to share your personal experience with the guru and what exactly do you think you have been impacted by the teachings or whatever they had to give you. Please unmute yourself. Unmute, Karli.
Thank you for this question. And my views are, I would say, almost like word for word what you have said and what Rishiji had said, that there may be lots and lots of things in my mind, but the learned people, not just my guru, but any guru's discourse that I have heard, in one way or the other, even before I could ask that question was answered. So I think that is the blessing. All the gurus are blessing everyone impartially. that they understand what is going in your mind. And though their answer may be very generic, but it looks like that they're answering directly to you what is your problem, and they're providing you the direct solution. So I would say when anybody experiences that, you should feel that you are extremely blessed, because it is not less than any miracle. You are not asking for it, and yet it's getting answered. And sometimes my experiences with learned people, including my own Guruji, have been that they would throw the light in some direction with the things that have not happened in my life. And they would just briefly mention that in their discourses. But when I encountered those situations, it looks like that they could foresee it, and they're telling me, oh, this is the step and how you should go about it. So for each and every challenge, they just prepare you, and not just for this journey of life. Of course, they are teaching you how to lead a good life, complete life, awaken all your chakras so that you can achieve the completeness within this life. And not just that, Guru is someone who doesn't even leave you once you are gone from this world. He not only guides you in this life, but afterlife also. So that's why I believe my interactions with my Guruji has been like, I feel very blessed. So many of my queries almost all of them always got answered by my Gurujis and other learned people. Srinivas.
Thank you, Shaviji, for that profound belief and conviction with which you say that. And when I spoke to you in the last couple of days as well, I felt the profoundness in which you feel towards the Guru. And it brings so much of conviction to what we have discussed today. To completely summarize the discussion, before I bring the person, Subhashji, onto this to throw light, he will come with a complete different dimension. He will come with a completely different perspective, and definitely always blows me off with his final comments, what he comes up with on the Guru and I. Subhashji, without saying anything else, I leave it for you to summarize the panel discussion. Subhashji, over to you.
Thank you very much, Srinivasji. And more thanks to all the panelists, because it was such an interesting and enjoyable moment I had to listen all of you, and I've learned so many things from all of you, all five of you, in fact. Thank you very much for your contribution. But just in the interest of time, I'll just try to add few more things, probably based on my own experiences. I think this topic, Guru and I, when this topic was being selected, there was something behind this topic itself. The two words, Guru and I. Srinivas touched upon that word, I, where the emphasis actually is more on I. I is not as me, I as the ego I, which is into me. And I need to know that. Most of the time, what we have been experiencing, what we have been seeing, is basically we are stuck on Guru itself. What he does, how he does, what is his power, how he does the miracle. Oh, is it this way? Is it that way? We try to analyze things on our own intellectual or our own analytical ability, but it is completely in vain. We cannot do that at all, because we are doing things on our own basis, and the Guru is at other basis. Whoever it is, doesn't matter at what level, be in a classroom or in office or spirituality or anywhere we are. He's at a different level, where that person who is trying to analyze what Guru is doing or how he does. What I think that whatever Guru does, or whatever he doesn't do, or even whatever we are at a point being surprised or being so much of perplexed mode, it doesn't matter. The important thing is, what is happening with me? Where I am? Am I developing? Am I progressing the way I have to? There are many differences when we talk about reading books, when we talk about listening to someone, and when we talk about experiencing something at our own level. There is a whole lot of difference. When we are reading something, who is experiencing it? At what level we are experiencing it? Level means, is it our body which is experiencing when we are reading? or is it our mind, or is it our intellect, or it is me is experiencing it? Ultimately, at the back end, it's I only, but how much conscious it is very important. So what I think is, when we talk about Guru and I, the emphasis has to go more not on Guru, but to I, because that's the perspective we have to go for, and that's the point from where we have to move on. So I remember some of the one, I think, Doha from Goswami Tulsidas ji and couple of couplets from Swarved, which I would like to highlight here. So I remember from Tulsidas ji what he mentioned: "Ek baar main Hari Mandir japat raha Hari Naam, Guru aaye abhiman vash uthi na kinhe pranam." Think about this simple one specific Doha, simple one specific couplet. What he says that I am in the Hari Mandir. I am remembering, doing whatever way I'm trying to connect with the Hari, the God, the enlightened, the supreme being. But when the Guru came, I did not get up from my place. Why? Thinking, why do I need? I'm already connected with that supreme being. The I. That's the I, the finest I we are talking about. Similarly, Swamiji has mentioned in Swarved, "Jahan hum hai tahan hari nahi, jahan hari hai hum nahi, hum aur hari dono saath mein kabhu rahte nahi." Hum means aham here. Aham means the me, the ego, the finest ego we have. It is talking about that. And at the same time, in Swarved, Swamiji has mentioned, "Jahan hum hai tahan guru nahi, ab guru hai hum nahi. जहां हम हैं तहां गुरु नहीं, अब गुरु हैं हम नहीं, प्रेम गली अति साकरी, एक में दो न समाही." If we just try to focus on some of the words here, probably the most important one is the prem, the love. If we don't have that with us, we cannot follow, we cannot surrender ourselves, we cannot do anything completely. Doesn't matter which guru or whichever type we are talking about, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. And unless and until that prem will come inside in its fullest form, that I will never go off. Never ever go off. I just take one simple example here on one more thing. Let me take this as an example. Suppose my wife is not feeling well, okay, and then I went to see a doctor. The doctor tried to investigate, tried to identify, and tried to find what has happened. And okay, the doctor has given some medicine, and the doctor said, follow this as a routine, as a course. Suppose we completed that, but still there is no difference, no cure, or nothing happened. What will I do? I'll go back to the doctor again to check with him. What happened? You said this, and this happened, but these things didn't happen. What should I do? Then the doctor will re-examine it. And then probably he will change the medicine, he will change some of his ways. And then suppose my wife is following exactly the same thing. Nothing happened. You go to him again, third time. Again, something happens. Nothing happened to my wife. How can I do this? Probably at one time, something would come to my mind. There are two aspects here. One is for my wife, or even my wife itself, her. She will think, should we take a second opinion? Probably. Should we take a second opinion with someone else? Maybe we would come up with something else. Maybe we are not able to know what has happened, or probably the doctor is not able to come up with something, or probably we are not doubting at all, but nothing is happening to me, and I'm doing exactly whatever he's saying. We are following exactly the way it is. So we take a second opinion just for our own benefit. Okay. Second aspect is, it may be possible the doctor himself doesn't know what has happened. It may be possible. It may be possible. But As a doctor, his duty would be he should refer to some other doctor based on his own experience, based on his own knowledge, or at least he should say, sorry, I cannot do, please, you should look out for someone else. These two important things are very important, I think. At one point, probably me or my wife as an individual would go on silently for a second opinion. We probably would not let the doctor know also, which is also not good. We should let the doctor know that, would you mind if you go for a second opinion? Probably he may open up also. He might have not been able to tell you go for second opinion, but once you say, when you come up with, do you think we should go for another opinion with someone or some other line of expertise? Maybe it's a neurological problem, or it's a mental problem, or it's a kidney problem, or something else, and you are gynecological problem handler. Maybe, we don't know. What I see here is the communication is very important. If we don't communicate the way it is, doesn't matter on which tool we are communicating, whether we are communicating through our voice, whether we are communicating by writing, whether we are communicating just through the waves, it doesn't matter. The communication is very important, and there has to have a development, because ultimately what we are doing and why we are doing or why it is happening, there is a reason behind this. If we have inquisitiveness, if we have desire to know something, there is a reason behind it. And that's why we are trying to ask the question, we are trying to know what exactly it is. Unless and until we get the right answer, it would be very difficult judgment for us. So here what I say, when this topic was coming up, Guru and I, there is a responsibility on two ways, not just one side, two ways responsibility. And the bigger responsibility comes to me as a single person. We have been running out here and there, trying to find everything in this world, whichever way it is, trying to know what the whole world is, who am I, who is God, who is the Guru himself. But we probably are not ready to do what we have to do. We are not doing. Why? Because of only single letter I. I think the best part from all these things, what we are doing is to focus on this I. This I is the biggest problem for all of us, no matter who it is. Whether we are talking about even a guru, whether we are talking about even an individual, that guru has reached to that place only because that I has been eradicated to a certain extent or completely. But if for that guru also, that I exist to a certain extent, there is a problem. When we talk about the world of spirituality, it's altogether different thing. It's not about reading in class, studying in class 1. It's not about reading in a management institution. It's not about something else. It's about an individual's life. It's about an individual's time. We are surrendering somewhere. Even if that has not happened, the I must be worked on. So very one quick thing, when we say that if that guru himself is connected with that I, there is a problem. We cannot go on and check on that. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. What we have to do, whether we are getting the experience or not, whether we are progressing or not, till the time we have the progression, till the time we are developing, and of course, everyone knows the ultimate goal, everyone. At least in the world of spirituality or otherwise, or wherever we talk about, we all know the ultimate goal where we have to reach. Focusing on that goal, if the progression is there, we believe that one day we will reach out to that and my guru will bring me to that point. But at one point, as and when your experience will grow, whether with guru or with your own I, as and when your experience will grow, you will realize at one point, you will realize at one stage what is next from here. If you don't realize that after even for a longer time period, please check for a second opinion. It's very important because it's our life, because it's us who have to decide what we have to do in our life, because we ourselves are responsible for our own life. Guru, as Rishiji mentioned, is the sun, indifferent to anyone, impartial to anyone. Doesn't matter what exactly who it is. It will put everything of it in the same way, on the same time, on the same basis. But the absorbing power is different. That I varies from people to people. It completely changes from people to people. Especially when we progress together, we would realize at one time what should be our next course of action. If we are not committed to that, if we are not fully dedicated to that, that Guru and I will always exist as a two entity. The objective is to amalgamate ourselves, and this I should vanish out completely and just Guru and Guru and Guru leave out. We don't exist. Thank you, Srinivasji. You're on mute.
I always thought you will come in and give us a very, very different and a very profound perspective, and you did so once again. You'll always live up to my expectations beyond. So yes, just to quickly summarize and hand over before handing over to Omji. Yes, a few things which Subhaji mentioned. Prem, love, affection for the Guru is very, very crucial. And the I that we have, which always comes in front of us, should be definitely in control. And even I remember having seen Buddha movie at one time when he moves to the Guru and he goes to one Guru, and when Guru says, okay, now I have this much, this is all I can teach you. Now you go to the northwest, walk in the northwest direction, and you will find your next Guru. So as Subhashji rightly mentioned, the right Guru will tell you to take your second opinion when he is done with it. That's the right Guru. So the Guru will be there for you. The Guru will always be there. He is waiting for you. You just need to get that information from him and get and move forward. Thank you very much, everybody on the panel. Subhashji, I would like to hand over to Omji from here.
Thank you, Mr. Srinivasji, for initiating this discussion, Guru and I have learned many things from you all. Ajnana Timir Andhasya. So what we need a candle. I mean, as we are living in the darkness, what we need the sun, not only for me, for the entire universe. So thank you, Rishiji, thank you, Chaviji, thank you, Vikasji, and thank you, Laganji up to IT, right? And again, thank you, Subhashji, for summarizing. All what we need is Guru, right? Not emphasizing on ourselves, on myself. And thank you again. Now let's move forward to the Santi part, which we call is also a closing prayer. For the closing prayer, Santi part, I would like to invite Pranav, and he's only doing his primary education right now and interesting in Vihangam yoga activities, and even to sometime he did surveys as well. So let's join Santi part with Pranav, and I hope Pranav you are ready. Please start now.
जय सद्गुरुदेव। वैराग त्याग की शांति हो, उदासीनता शांति, सेवारित शिष्य शांति हो, सत्य शांति हो शांति। हे प्रभु शांति स्वरूप हो, शांति शांति में शांति, शांति शांति जन शांति हो, पूर्ण शांति में शांति। हे प्रभु शांति प्रदान कर, दूर हो सर्व शांति, देव सदा फल शांति में शांति, शांति सुख शांति, शांति शांति सुख शांति। जय सद्गुरु।
Thank you, Pranav. It's really motivating to all of us and hope to hear more from you in the future. Now for the special comments, I would like to invite Mr. G.R. Poddar. Poddarji is directing Vihangam Yoga Singapore team. Over to you, Mr. Poddar.
Jai Sri Sadgurudev to all. Today we have heard all about the Guru and the I. And the I has to remove, like Mr. Subhaji has said, I, that our ego, we have to remove, we have to surrender. Swami Sudhafalji Maharaj in the Vihangam Yoga done the 17 years hard penance in Himalaya and other places, and he has given the yoga meditation, 5 stages of meditation. Our ultimate aim is to meet the God permanently, because we all are suffering from birth and rebirth. Because he has said, इस अद्भुत मार्ग योग विहंगम मैं तुमको बतलाऊंगा, यदि विधिवत तुम साधन करियो, अमर लोक पहुंचाऊंगा। महाप्रभु अनंत दया में उनसे तो ही मिलाऊंगा, कहें सदाफल परमानंदा, आवागमन मिटाऊंगा। This birth and rebirth which you are suffering, our main aim of our life is to meet the God permanently. We are very fortunate that we have got the human life, and with this human life only we get the moksha. Because Sadguru, who is the Sadguru? Maya lok chhodai ke चेतन लोक निवास, सदगुरु ताको जानिए, भक्ति मुक्ति तेहि पास। सदगुरु ब्रह्म स्वरूप है, नर स्वरूप के माही, पारस दे जग जीव को, पारस दे जग जीव को, कंचन रूप बनाए, भूले हुए जग जीव को निज घर दे पहुंचाए। भूले हुए निज देव, भूले हुए जग जीव को निज घर देह पहुंचा, सतपथ प्रदर्शक रहे सदगुरु देव कहा। The 5 stages of meditation which Sadguru Bhagwan has teaches us कि how to do the meditation. The first stage, how to control our mind from the outside. That is Sadguru. Then from the second stage, how to control the mind from the inside. The third stage, how the Kundalini opens, Dasam Dwar opens. Third stage of meditation. Fourth stage, how we get the darshan of Sadguru. And the last stage, we get the meet the permanent God permanently. Prabhu Prasad Sadguru Daya Man अन्य प्रभु प्रसाद सदगुरु दया मन होए स्वाधीन, अन्य को ही युक्ति नहीं, सदगुरु चरण अधीन. We have to surrender. We have to do meditation. Sadguru, he in the one time in the whole world, one Sadguru exists. He has tremendous power. He has no motive. He has only to give the blessing, the welfare, everything to all the humankind. And with that, I just over to Sri Omji. Jai Sri Sadgurudev.
Thanks, Mr. Poddar, for your special comments, and thank you for your regular support. And now let's move to the next, which is the vote of the thanks. And for vote of the thanks, I would like to invite Mr. Srinivas Ji, who is our moderator today and is very vibrant personality. Over to you, Mr. Srinivas.
First of all, thank you, Om Ji, for conducting the whole session as a MC. Thank you very much. And you always do a brilliant job. I one day want to be the MC, but I look forward. Thank you very much for being the MC one day. Chandanji as a backbone, he quietly does all the work. Chandanji, thank you very much for being there, supporting, messaging, converting words to actions for all of us. Thank you very much. I would once again thank the panelists, Vikasji, Rishiji, Lagnajitji, and Chaviji for being there and shedding light onto this very important topic of Guru and I. Thank you very much for joining the panel on such a short notice, especially Lagnajit and Chaviji. Vikasji and Rishiji, we are part of the team of Vihangam Yoga Singapore, and we keep communicating with each other. But thank you very much for being there always whenever we have a discussion like this and giving us your inputs. Subhashji, as always, thank you very much, Subhashji. You are always there for us. Thank you for that as well. And thank you very much for the insights that you provide on each and every topic as we go forward in the panel discussions. Thank you very much, Subhashji. Divyesh and Siddesh. Now I'll come to the Swagat Gan, the two young kids of Subhashji. Thank you very much for the Swagat and Mangal Gan. Thank you very much. It was soulfully done by both of you. And Pranavji for the Shanti part. All the three of you have done a brilliant job, and thank you very much. We look forward to having you all on our sessions and listening more of you. Podarji, as always, you've been a guide for us, and the way you direct us, the way you throw light onto Sadhguru and your own personal experiences into it, you bring a lot of conviction into what we set out to do in Vihangam Yoga Singapore. And your special comments are always very valuable. Thank you very much. Again, over to Omji. Thank you very much for everybody who is here on this session, who has been keenly listening to us, listening to the panel, paying attention. Here, I think if you want to know more about all this and many more things are available in this survey book, which is displayed in the front. This is Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj's what he has experienced, what he has learned over the years, what he has learned out of his penance is all in this book, Swarved. Please contact anyone on the Vihangam Singapore panel out here. You can see Vihangam Singapore on our panels. Please communicate with any of us or anybody who has invited you. This book is available, and this book also comes with its own explanation of each and every doha and chaupai which is there inside. Complete explanation ke saath hai. So please use it to the best. And you also should visit our website. Omji, I will hand over to you to just put the website slide and close this. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Srinivasji. So last but not the least, as Srinivasji had told, you can see the picture of the survey on the display on the screen, which we call is Encyclopedia of Spirituality. This holy book is composed by His Excellency Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj. This book is available in Hindi. English version will be available very, very soon. We highly recommend to keep a copy of the survey and read few couplets before you start meditation. Please feel free to contact us to get reserve your copy. And we have one interesting thing coming in this end of the month. We are going to do a survey Akhand part, which means 24-hour globally reading of this survey. If anybody wants to join us, please let us know. If you don't have the survey, we can provide you. We will train you. Even though few couplets, 1 couplet, 5 couplets, 10, it's entirely is your willingness to try out this. And then our social media pages, as you can see on the screen, all the platforms where we are available, our meetup groups, YouTube channel, Twitter, Facebook, and do take a note of our Zoom link, which is always remain the same. And do take a note of our daily morning and evening activities, which is 6 a.m. in the morning, 8 p.m. for the weekdays, and 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. for the weekends. And you can see our main page, our website, www.vihangamsg.com, Many formatting slides, many information are already there free of course. You please visit us, make use of this. And also, let's talk about the YouTube. All the sessions are recorded and captured in the YouTube channel. Do visit us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So now we are at the end of the session. If anyone has any question, please unmute yourself and ask a question. We will try to help you out. Any question or any comments?
Before that, Omji, I think we should thank two more persons. One is Santosh Kumar Paniji, and I think Usha ji has left, who I believe had joined us for the first time. Thank you very much for joining with us today.
Any question, anything? Anybody want to know more about us? Do fill up the form which is already available in the Zoom chat box, so we can reach you out and we will let you know all our upcoming events. So far, no question right now, Swazi, or do you want to add on something?
No, that's fine, Omji. I think thank you very much to you and all the team and everyone who have joined today. It's a wonderful event today. Just quickly emphasizing on the slide which we are showing here, the Swarved Akhand Path. The Swarved is the book which is composed by Sadhu Sadafal Devji Maharaj. There are more than 3,000, roughly around 4,000 couplets are there, and we are going to recite this in around 21 hours at a stretch. This is a global event where at this time, I think around 88 people are participating to reading it from around 23 countries. The couplets are available in hard copy as well as in the app. If anyone wants to see the couplets, just the couplets, not the meaning, not the commentaries, it is available in Vihangam Yoga app. Anyone can go and download the app from iOS or even Android, whichever you have phone system. If you want to participate, please let us know. Reading even 5 or 10 couplets is good enough to start with. This is a divine event we are doing for the 4th time, and we hope we would continue this happening every quarter as usual. We are doing. We would be live on Facebook for all these 21 hours on 31st of July, which is Saturday. We would start this event on Saturday morning, Singapore time, 5 a.m. In fact, 4:45 a.m. And this will continue till 1 a.m. on the Sunday, or 1:30 a.m. on Sunday. Along with this, we really hope most of you would have been benefited from this particular event. Please encourage us to join our regular session, be it meditation session or even such kind of discussion session. We pray to the Sadguru and to the Almighty to have a good well-being for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So, all right. Thank you, everyone, for your participation, and see you in the next session. This is the end of today's session. So, till the time, take care, stay healthy, remain safe, and bye-bye.